Hey everyone, welcome to Eileen on Love. If you're new here, I'm Eileen, and I love getting to talk about whatever I want to talk about. And I love talking manifestation, biblical manifestation, law of attraction, law of assumption, neuroscience, neuroplasticity, all the fun stuff for me. And it just so happened I was on Facebook in a manifestation group and I came across Crystal, and we both were responding to someone's question on that group. And I was just so drawn to her. I was like, can we just do an interview, just like an impromptu? Is that okay? And she was all for it. So, Crystal, thank you so much. I'm so excited that you're on here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be on here. I'm excited to show my wealth and my knowledge.
Yes. And you were giving so much gold. And I was like, wait, stop. I got to click record. This is just too much good. Yes. So I just wanted to know because I feel like everyone kind of does that self-development aha moment at some stage in life when they're really in some kind of pivotal stage, usually. So I'm curious for you, how did you come across all of this whole world, this whole amazing, magical, supernatural, crazy town?
I could give you the quick version, because it's been a very long time. Only because in the past I deemed myself a little stubborn. Um, I come from a very uh Christian Catholic background where my family instilled certain values and stuff inside of my teaching as a child, and I always questioned. I was the one that always questioned the why. I was like, but why? But why? But why? Until I got into adulthood and my life was spiraling. It was really just spiraling. Like I was overweight, I was unhappy, I was broke. Hell. I was so broke. I was in failed relationship that continued on, and I always felt like I never got my way. I was like, there's got to be more to this than this. I didn't get handed this plate of life when I'm a good person. Like I am a good person. I would always give, and I'm always kind, and I'm always generous, and I'm always, I was very what they would call like Christ-like, but I was seeing negative results, and I was really, honestly, I was in a bad spot. Like I was homeless at one point. I was sick. I was everything, like everything that I could have possibly experienced, and all the things that people usually come running away from through the experience. I was a little more hard-headed, so I kind of endured it. Um, but wonderfully, it brought me to this point in my life, and I feel so free now, and I feel so excited about my life, and I'm finally in a space where I tell people they see me now, and they're like, "You're different." I'm like, "I am different because I chose different thoughts and I chose different scenarios for myself where I didn't know that that was even an option. I just, like everybody else in my family, was like, these are the cards you're dealt,
Mm.
deal with them." And I'm like, I don't like that. No, there's no way that the universe picked me to come out here to do this. No, there's no way. There's no way. I refuse to believe that because I see other people with less um consciousness of what they're doing and they're getting more. Like it would seem to me like I had the storyline where it's like, how come bad people are getting the best? And I'm like, it's my perception. It's my perception of what's happening. Really. It's like you can still have the things and still live a different lifestyle. But there was a lot of things I had to undo for myself. A lot of limiting beliefs. The biggest one was caring what other people thought about me. That was
Mm. Was that
that was
something
the
that like,
hardest
you
one.
grew up with? Like just
Yes.
constantly the thought of like that everyone, I bet when you started learning about the everyone is you pushed out, you must be like, and then just kind of have like this
Oh,
aha moment. And then when you see something now and you're like,
like
oh, what did I do? Let me think. Let me just double check what's going on over here real
yes.
quick. Did that happen to you
I
now?
literally, yeah. So now it's like before I used to be like, oh, it's just poor me. Everything is happening to me. Crying about it, throwing a tantrum. Let's see. I would do everything. I would do, and then now I look at it and I'm like, I was reacting like a child because that's where it stemmed from my childhood. So it makes sense why I was repeating it as an adult trying to get the same reaction. And now when something happens to me, I have like my best friend. I love her. She's amazing. She is not into manifestation, but she listens to my ranting, I call it, my my excitement. I will have a scenario or a situation that I'll talk to her about, and she's, why are you always blaming yourself? And I'm like,
Mm.
because it is me. It's my thoughts that are creating the scenario, the situations, and the perfect orchestration for that to play out. Like there's no other explanation. If I'm such a good woman, like you say, and I'm such a perfect this or perfect that, but I'm seeing the same results, it's because it's a me problem now. It's not anybody else. I can't keep blaming other people for my discretionary actions. Like it's just not their fault. It's me. When now I'm like, okay, let me go journal to see what it is that I'm thinking. And um, I'm actually working on a self-help journal so that people can really dissect what it is that they're, because I think that they don't have any navigation in that area. It's more of like, hey, you want a car or you want SP, because that's the biggest thing. That's how I came into this too, really. Until I started to be like, hey, this applies to every single thing in my life, not just SP relationships and dynamics within, other people. It's really just, it's everything. It's everything all around. It's once you get to that sweet spot where you're like, oh, it's just everything is me. Okay, I have one job. That's to change my thinking. That's
Mm.
it. People can't get around that part though. It's like a little speed bump that people get stuck. And I'm like, it's not that big of a jump. It's a speed bump. It
So,
really is just that.
when you're saying to change your mind, do you find yourself, or do you like, as far as like modalities or other, where you draw their information from or research, do you find that you use like any type of neuroscience like with it, or is it more like the spiritual side with it? Because I feel like for me, anyways, when I was getting into this, it was really, really, really difficult for me to find people that had the neuroscience with the, manifestation of what it actually means. Because if you change your mind, I mean, your brain, okay, let me look up my brain. How does it work? How does it function? Neurons, I control my neurons. I create more neurons. I multiply my neurons. Wait a minute. When you
You're like,
start
what?
learning all these things, it's science is right there. And, for me,
Yeah.
like I'm a Christian, I started looking at the Bible where it says, you need to control your thoughts. God gave you a sound mind. You need to
Yes.
think these things. What you speak is
I'm
going
in
to
the
come to
same.
existence. You know what I mean? And it's like, wait, because that was my aha moment when, and just because actually for anybody who's watching this, she doesn't know anything about me. We literally just met on Facebook. So for me, I came on manifestation because I had grew up with a lot of like suicidal ideations. Couldn't figure it out
Mm-hmm.
because I was perfectly fine. I wasn't on drugs. I wasn't, hooching on the streets or being
Same.
crazy. I wasn't doing anything. I just couldn't figure out, well, why do I have these random thoughts
But
in my head?
why?
And then all of a sudden, I just said, all right, I made a promise to somebody that I wasn't going to do it. And then on my journey to learn how to cope, somebody brought up the whole, you need to go research manifestation. And I was like, ugh. And then of course I did. And as I did, one day I just walked across my guest room, and the only decoration that I have in my house was the Philippians 4:8.
Mm.
Philippians 4:8, where it says to think on such things. And then I was like, oh my gosh, God is literally telling us that our brain is like controlling everything. And when
Yes.
people get things so misconstrued, like you can take the word prayer and you can put in any religion. You can take
Yes.
the word manifestation and put it in anything. It's the same thing like alcohol or money or anything. You can take anything, put it in
Yes.
somebody's hands, and it's going to enhance who they are. So when all the
Yes.
Christian community got crazy, they're like, Eileen's into the stuff now. And I'm like, you guys, this is like
Me
neuro.
too.
This is like, I'm not, and I understand it because I know that there are people that have other modalities that they include with their manifestation. But it's the same thing like Christians have this, Catholics have this, Jewish people have this. Everybody that's in their own religion, they have their own belief systems and modalities and traditions and da 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 da. It's the
Yes.
same thing like manifestation. It's like telling somebody, thinking is evil. That's literally how
Yes.
wild it is for people to just take manifestation, just kind of like turn into something crazy. So that's kind
Yes.
of how my journey came to learning about manifestation. That's why I was like, do you draw more on the supernatural side or more like on the physical neuroscience? What does that look like for you?
Well, at first, I will tell you that I did start off very spiritual. I was looking really, and this is what I tell a lot of my clients, and like, I was essentially searching for myself. We think we're looking for something outside of that. Realistically speaking, it's going to bring it right back to you. And it brought it back to myself every single time. It brought me back to the God within me. I didn't understand that concept until I accidentally got into Neville's teachings.
Mm,
And when he was speaking directly from like the biblical sense, I was like, oh, it literally light bulb. I was like,
mm,
this is all in the same context. It's exactly in the way that he explains it, specifically when it comes to like the resurrection and everything. I never really fully grasped it until, like I said, like I was dabbling in the teachings. At first I was really spiritual. I would light candles and do the prayers and do the, not really understanding that it was my intent that pushed forward any of the results that I got. It was really just the focus. It was really just the dedication. It was really just the knowing that what I did there was like, it's done, it's concrete. It's literally the same thing when you're getting into like the manifestation world. And I don't really even, sometimes I don't tell people I'm a manifestation coach because they look at me like, oh, okay, you're strange. And I'm like, no, you're doing it right now. Actually, how do you think I'm here? Like, you called me. And I've had to literally stop myself from like people who don't really, especially religious people, very heavily the elder groups. They're a little bit more stuck on the religious aspect of it, and I respect that. But I literally try to pinpoint that like, look, this is this. I'm just saying it's exactly the same. I'm just saying you could draw the line if you want, but I could do it for you, like whatever. But yeah, I started off first with the spiritual side of myself. I had like a deep yearning for like a love that was outside of myself. Like I really just wanted to feel loved. And in the journey of searching through that, I found what I like to call is like that self-love. And I think people really misconstrue what that is. Like they think it's like taking yourself out on dates and those are things that you can do to get into the state of it. And I don't think people really realize like the self-love and stuff is just really you getting into the state of knowing that you are here with a purpose. And I started off, like I said, with the spiritual side and slowly started to uncover through the law of attraction. That was the next thing that naturally came to me with what was her name? Esther Hicks.
okay.
I have all of their books, all of their audiobooks, all of their, and it got me things. And not to discredit her at all, not to discredit their teachings, because I know that they get their teachings from Neville anyways. However, I did notice that I was still in the state of lack, no matter what. I never understood this, like getting into the state. And I think that's a lot of things that we struggle with as humans. We don't know what that looks like. What is the state of, like getting into the state of what? And I'm like, getting into the state of knowing. When you know and you're just unfazed by every and anything around you, you're like, oh, there's a fire. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know I did that. I was thinking this the last week. I like to kind of go through it like that. So once I reached Neville's teachings, I would literally listen to it for days and days and hours while I'm doing hair, while I'm with my children, and it would be in the background playing. And every time it just kept proving to me and kept proving to me, kept proving to me, kept proving to me. Like you're looking for something outside of yourself, you're not gonna, because it is you pushed out. So you're gonna keep in that moment. You're gonna be in the state of looking for it until I stopped. And I'm like, what is it that I need to see right now? Show me if I'm this powerful creator and everything is me pushed out, show me. Oh, when it showed me, I was like, okay, I got it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I got it. How do I slow this down? And there wasn't any slowing it down. There wasn't any slowing it down. There wasn't stopping. It literally made me face myself and where it was that I was like, you have so much potential to be all these amazing things. These things placed on your heart were meant to be fulfilled and satisfied. That's just the end of the story. You're holding yourself out of receiving, experiencing, seeing, witnessing, because you don't have a belief system tight enough, strong enough that you are the operant creator. So now you're going to have to show yourself. And I started small. I would do things like manifesting cars or free cups of coffee or like just anything to get my muscle working. It's like when you get in a gym at first, you know, you don't have that much practice in it. So you test it out with little things. I would test it out with like signs and angel numbers and all these things. Then I came into the realization it's like oh, not only does everything you pushed up, but you also make the rules. You assign the meaning, you assign the this. And I'm like, it's all me. Yes, baby, it's all you. Congratulations. You've
So
woken up
that
now.
knowing that, because I feel like that's a really big distinction from like new age manifesting to just being a human being and just manifesting just with straight science and your brain and stuff.
Yeah.
Because with the new age, I think they do lean towards, I mean, I do think, I feel like they lean towards heavy towards like talisman or like the crystals or like, you know, this or tarot, this and that. And for me,
Been there, done that.
when I start doing this research, I'm like, you know, I am a Christian. I do believe that psychics are real. I do believe because not for nothing, there are prophets in the Bible, and prophets are people who tell the future. So it's like, you know, you can't just pick one or the other. So I'm thinking, man, if these people that are going to see these tarot readings and it's not whatever, but they're doing manifestation and they're into their crystals and their stuff and their this. But if they're going to the psychic, they're saying these things, which if they know if they actually are really, you know, psychic and have those
Yeah.
abilities, then they're gonna tell you exactly the truth that you're in at the moment. But if you can change it anyways, aren't you kind of sort of wasting your money because technically
Yes.
they're telling you what you are doing?
Already
Like,
know. Yes.
so why do we need to find out? Like, you're only going to be married one time in your life. You're going to have no kids and it's not whatever, blah, blah, stuff. And it's like, oh, okay. But it's like, but wait a minute. What does it really matter what this person says or anybody says? Because we can change all of this stuff and then your tarot reading tomorrow will be completely different. Like, that's
Yes,
just
and it
the
will.
reality of being able to change your mind.
It will. From somebody who went through the whole, like I said, I've been through all the phases. I was looking for everything but myself. I didn't even know I was looking for myself. I thought I was looking for the answers. Like I knew there was a God and I knew that there, because I had experiences with it, with the source. But I didn't know what that really entailed until now, obviously. But I was with the crystals. I purchased every single crystal because I didn't realize that it was me constantly pushing versions of myself that needed to show me the path. Like I trusted 100%. That's one thing that I made a decision back in that October. I was like, no matter what, I'm going to choose myself. I'm going to choose myself over and over and over again. And I'm going to keep, no matter how many, unfoldings I have done, no matter how much evolutions I go through, I don't care what it looks like. I need to find this information because my parents weren't taught this, and their parents weren't taught this, and their parents weren't taught this. And there was such a long history and line of just different things like abuse and mental health issues and stuff. And I was like, I owe it to myself first by the experience that I've been given and allotted here on earth for this time being. And now I have children involved. So I was just very sure and very gung ho on becoming whatever version I needed to become, no matter what it looked like. I didn't judge myself because I was like, this is part of it. This is, when you're building a house, it doesn't look great at first. It looks crazy, actually. So, until you get the walls up and the furniture in and everything else in place, then is when you start to live it. You start to live in the home, you start to create the memories, you start to build from a different place. But when you're with the floor plans and it's blank, you're just on hopes and dreams. Really, realistically, you're just trying to see like, is this gonna happen? Like, and that's how you build trust with yourself. That was another one that I really had to work on is trusting my ability because I know I have abilities and have my specialty and my whatnot. Like God made me perfect and special in my own way. But I was taught that I wasn't that special because that's something that we're also, oh, you're not that special. Everybody gets, and these are the storylines that our family feeds us. And I was determined. I was like, no, it's gonna look crazy. It's gonna look messy, but it's an art piece. It's not meant to be always so beautiful at the beginning. The vision is not anybody else's, it's yours. And sometimes it looks messy. And sometimes you're wondering, like, where's my paintbrush or where's this? And realistically speaking, you get to decide. I tell people all the time, like, you're deciding everything and anything at any given moment. Unconsciously, sometimes you're doing it, but when you come into this state of frame of mind where it's like you are consciously doing it, you pick better words for yourself. You pick better actions for yourself. You start to really be like, how is this gearing me towards my manifestation or my dream life or whatever it is you want to call it, how is this aiding in it? If it's not, drop it where it's at because it's not meant for you. It's just like a
Mm,
trailer. It's meant for you to watch, observe, and detach. Take notes. I'm seeing this, this, this. It could be an old limiting belief you've gotten rid of and you're just being an innocent bypasser watching. Or it could be something that you need to really take into navigation and be like, let's steer it all the way away from here. But yeah, I came to it. I had the understanding of the spirituality. I did the tarot cards. I did, and I would drive myself crazy with that. Honestly, it was like loop on end. I would throw cards and be like,
it's
it's
all
reading the
external
same
stuff,
thing.
all the
It's
external
reading the
things,
same. And
and
I'm like,
the crazy
yes, it
thing
is.
is like, if you really think about it, and again, most of my stuff's gonna be like, oh, I'm a Christian, da, 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 stuff, because that's just, that's just me. But I'm like, God made these stones and these crystals and these things like that, right? So it's like in and I will die on this cross. I am 100%
Mhm.
convinced that the most brilliant thing that the devil could do is make somebody not have control or to distort the truth about God or themselves or supernatural or heaven or all
Mhm.
these things. So for me, I'm like, this makes sense because I've been a Christian my whole life and I had all these crazy thoughts and this, that, whatever. But if the devil could just make, because if somebody said manifestation to me before, I was like, they're like how most Christians are, because that's how we grew up. They're like, oh, that's a scary word. Oh, it's crazy. Don't
Yeah,
even research it.
exactly.
Don't
Everybody's
even
afraid of it. Like,
research it. Don't even look it up because you're gonna get
don't
possessed
say
if you look it up
the
online. Seriously. And I'm like, but how genius is it for if whether you believe in God or not, or whoever's out there watching this, if the God is real and the cross is real and the whole resurrection thing, if all those things are real and all the devil had to do was make your brain think that you just are living by default, you suck at life and you just have to deal with whatever happens and that's just how it is and you can't control nothing. And even for Christians that say they're Christian, but then they don't believe in the supernatural and they don't believe in, and even though God said,
right.
you're going to be able to do the things that I can do and more. I don't know if you know that, but okay, I was going
Literally.
to say it's in the Bible. God said, you're going to be able to do what I can do and more. And then I've had Christians tell me, oh, we're not supposed to be, we're in this world, but not of this world. And I'm like, yes, exactly. We should be able to do all the extra stuff that people are not doing because they
Right.
and let their mind expand to this whole like supernatural realm that if people, whoever your spiritual beings or not, there's that spiritual natural realm, regardless of what your beliefs are. It's there. It just exists, regardless of where you fall in the line of your belief system. Your brain is there. Nobody can deny your brain is there. So in
Yes.
my mind, it just kind of gets like, God made these crystals, but if the devil can make it seem like they're evil, then it's like, okay, something that may be beautiful, something that may have these like the energies. I hate saying the word energies because people get all weird. But if they have like, drinking water has its health benefits, or walking like your feet on dirt has its health benefits, or being in
Mhm.
oxygen, being in the sun, all these natural resources, they all have health benefits, just like essential oils, just like stones and rocks and crystals. They all have health benefits to us, to our natural bodies that God gave us. But if the devil can make something sound crazy and frou-frou and all kinds of stuff, then you know what we're doing? We're getting the
Yes.
crystals, we're praying to the crystals, send me my boyfriend, bring him back to me, or we're
Put him in
sending
my
the
husband. Right.
I need my money. I need this, I need that, or whatever. And then I just said, the one thing that got to me with this whole stuff and the things in the external, because I get it. When somebody wants something, there's nothing wrong with wanting things at
Yes.
all. I think it just goes down to that core of what is your wish fulfilled? And that's something I got from Neville. Now, of course, I'm a Christian. I don't believe with everything that he said, but there's one thing that I cannot dispute, and that he is a G when it comes to using your imagination, your visualization,
Yes.
understanding. There's no comparison. When it comes to that, I will not argue Neville any day of the week.
You're like, we're not arguing with you, sir. You
If
got it.
and I love him for that. And I said, man, I said, if people get to the root, actually, it was a Neville conference that he was in, and he spoke to a woman, and she said, and I was trying to say this because I was like, oh, I'm gonna totally ask you to come back so we can do like an SP thing, because I think we could have a whole conversation on that. And I know it's already like
Oof.
getting late, but he said to this woman, she's like, I want this SP, I want him so bad, only him. And he's like, You just want him and nobody else? I just want him and nobody else. And he's like, are you sure just him and nobody else? It can't be another guy. Nobody else. And then he said, okay, if he died and a bus hit him tomorrow, does that mean that you never want to get married? You're not going to have kids. You're done. That's it. Because it's just him. And she was like, well, he'd be dead. So of course I'm going to get married. I want to get married. And, I would just marry somebody else because he's not there. And he said, well, you're not living in your wish fulfilled. She's like, how? He said, because you don't want him. Your wish fulfilled is, I want to be happily married in a loving marriage with children and da 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 da. That's the wish fulfilled. The who, the how, the what, the time, all that extra
Doesn't matter.
When you detach from that, then you can actually see what the root of the actual wish desire is, So it's like, it could be your SP.
Yeah.
It could be the guy that you're specifically, or the girl, or whoever you're specific. It could, absolutely.
It could be something else.
But are you open to desiring the best for you? Or are you just
right.
stuck on, I just want this thing. And now I'm going to do everything external that's going to make me feel like I'm going to get it. Like go to psychics, or look at crystals, or get little talismans, or do 95 versions of this chant and this, not whatever, and a specific number on a specific day when the moon is tilted sideways, and
yes,
to do it in a way where it becomes not like you're naturally living like somebody who believes this stuff, but you're doing like rituals to make it happen, which is completely different than just
well, that's how Christians and Catholics, and respect to any other religions, but that's how they train you to receive repentance. And it's a really strong desire. It's like you want to be needed, you want to be accepted. And so I feel like that really ties into the SP thing. Absolutely, because it's like you're doing all the work. You're like, I'm doing the work. And it's like, yes, but you don't understand that it has nothing to do with the work that you're doing. It's an internal thing. It's you being open to receiving that. And I think a lot of people separate themselves from that because they don't want the responsibility of knowing that they have to make a change internally. It's like taking that responsibility is a lot for people who are not ready to accept responsibility. It's like you have to be held, you have to hold yourself accountable. I don't want to do that. I know you don't. It's hard to hold accountability when it's you that's pushing everything out. That's the thing I was telling you about my cousin. Like, I love her to death, but when I recognize it's a me thing, and 99.999% time, I recognize when it's a me thing, I'm unfazed by it now, where before I used to waver and go crying to the crystals and everything. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that because there's spaces and places for everybody's journey. So I don't really judge that. Like if you're in that space, you're gonna get here one. Like you're just gonna stumble upon it. It's everybody's on their own GPS, their own navigation. How you get there is not my problem. That's the universe. That you will get there, I know you will, because you're already halfway through where I was drowning myself in the SP situation, where it's like I would do the crystals and the tarots and the oils and the this and the that. I spent so much money and trying to search for not to take responsibility. It was really just me not holding myself accountable for my thoughts and not trusting myself because I didn't want to have that responsibility. And I was taught this. I was taught this through my religion. And a lot of religions will teach you, like, you're not worthy yet. You still have work to do.
Forever.
You still have to, yes. And it's no end to it. Right? And it's like you have no guarantees either. Like you could be good, but you know, when you get there, you don't know what's going to happen. Like that really didn't sit well with me. So I was like, so I could live this great life where I'm constantly of service, where I'm constantly loving, where I'm constantly checking my brain and checking my mind and doing service for others and being of service. And it's like, even Jesus of the Bible that came down, he didn't do things because people wanted him to. He did it because he knew what he had to do in the time frame. And he's like, I'm going out, you following me. Like, I am the source. I came down with the intent to show you how to do this, not because I was above you. And I think people really, they're like, oh, well, he walked on water. Like I'll have this conversation with my ex-husband. And he had the same kind of like narrative in his brain where it was like, I believe in the Bible, but not all of it. I was like, you can't be lukewarm because that's also in the Bible. Like you're going to get spit out. And that's what's happening to you. And he's like, I don't understand that. I'm like, just say you don't understand it. But realistically, if you don't believe in everything in the Bible, do you even really believe in it? Because it's like written to perfection. what you choose to believe, you can't cherry pick either. So that's what I tell him, like, you can't cherry pick. You got to pick one. You can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because your life is going to look like that. It's going to really look like that. And he's like, I don't understand that. Now he's getting it a little bit better, which thank goodness. Um, but at the time, it was a lot of him. Like, I would be like, well, do you believe in, like, when Jesus walked on water? And he's like, what? What are you talking about? Did you not see there's accounts of who was it that also stepped out on the water? The only thing that separated him from Jesus and walking on water with Jesus was his fear, was his lack
Mhm.
mentality, was his attention and focus away from him. That's why he's like, keep your eye on me. He was not saying me directly. He was saying, keep your eye on the focus on what it is that you're trying to achieve, like what it is that you're trying to manifest, let's say. And when I try to bring this up to like my older family, they're like, you're going against the Bible. I'm like, I'm not. I'm actually understanding it differently from a perspective of where I take my ego out of it. I'm taking my need for validity out of it. There's nothing outside of me that I desire more than the experience of what I'm wanting to experience. And I know that's sure to come to pass because it's a desire. That's it. And they're like, whoa, you're weird. I'm like, I'm different.
It's a lot. But even in the
But
Bible, it says that God told disciples the things that I could tell you, your brains can't handle it right now.
you can handle it.
Like he said it. You would not even be able to comprehend
Pretend.
really everything if I could even tell you. So if all
Yeah.
of those miracles and all of those things that he did, which were genuinely outside of the church realm, away from the Pharisees, away from that, and he was still God. I mean, he was the church. He was the one who went walking around and people came to
Yeah.
him. It wasn't him making things a certain kind of way. And I think it just comes down to when you keep your eye on him, you're able to separate from the religious side of it. And I
Yeah.
understand there's supposed to be some type of like, it's meant to be like an organized chaos, but now what we have is chaos. So
Right.
it's like, okay, y'all too much chaos
How
because
did
I
I
don't even go
leave
to
that?
church anymore. I love God. I'm a Christian. I believe in the cross. I believe all that. I don't go to church. I haven't gone to church in a few years. Why? Because
Me neither.
they can't fathom the supernatural world. And it's something so simple, something so scientific, something that's just sitting in everyone's head, but they're just so stuck on what
They're scared.
I think that's so much fear, even to
Yeah,
research
there's
or
of
even
the
understand,
unknown.
So I just kind of like, I'm like, okay. And I just kind of let them be. I'm like, whatever. All right. Cause
Me too. I'm
that's all
like,
you can kind of do
okay.
it. Okay. I'm weird. Okay. I'm crazy. Okay. I mean, I got this thing over here, but okay, whatever, So it's like, whatever.
Literally.
Just okay. Let me ask you, where can people find you if they want to connect with you, like Instagram and website or what?
Send them the business email address, and then they could just connect with me that way. Send them. So it's info dot thebridge23 @gmail. They can message me there, and I am very quick with my responses. I like to give everybody their time and their space. And for now, I think we're going to open up personal one-on-one coaches, like coaching calls and stuff like that, for a select few, just to get that out there. So I'll be posting that soon. And then the people that could benefit from it, they can take full advantage and I'll help you. And it's first limited to time, obviously, but then after that, I'll be offering full-time coaching. Because
And
like
that
you
was
said, this is absolutely a lifestyle. 23
perfect.
at
So
Gmail.
I'm going to put the email in the description. So if anybody wants to reach out to Crystal and get your life, that used to sound like such like a shady thing to say to somebody, but really get your life. That really is what it
Get
is.
your
It's
life, girl.
awesome. So Crystal, do you think we might do this again? Maybe.
Yes, absolutely. I love checking in with other people who are like minded. I find like there are people who are coming into my life now just recently where they're dabbling in it, and when I let it loose on them, they're like, ma'am, ma'am, your information is a little bit advanced. I'm like, but can I slow it down for you? Because if I can make you understand something as advanced as this in little baby bite-sized steps, you're gonna be so farther along than I was. And that's
Oh
what I
yeah,
want. I want you
that's
to get
awesome.
there fast.
I love that. I love that. I love that you did this with me. This was so fun and exciting, kind of just
I
like
know.
I can't wait to do it again.
Me
So for
too.
anybody that's watching this description, the email's in there so that we can connect with Crystal. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you want all things
Yes.
manifestation, biblical manifestation, neuroscience, neuroplasticity, all the fun things, because I love talking about whatever I want to talk about, then make sure to subscribe and hit the notification, the bell button.